want to be in love, but that's the hardest thing to do. But this is a song that I want to put up. I'm scared, I can literally challenge anyone in this world.
Yeah. Have you ever come across someone who's so good with their storytelling that they're able to captivate you with their narratives, convey the emotions that they want to express, and at the same time, get you to picturize the scene that they want to deliver? Our guest for today is Mr. Anmol Gurung, someone who's won a million hearts through his work in music, filmmaking, narrations, and we've had the opportunity to have a deeper level conversation with him, where we've tried to understand what really goes on within his head when he's creating these beautiful pieces of art. So stay tuned till the end to soak up all the value this episode has to offer. And make sure you hit the like, share, and subscribe button, as that is what motivates us to bring more such content your way. This is Siddhant Sahu in conversation with Mr. Anmol Gurung, only on Dialogue Diaries. So, how are you, Da?
Well, I'm good and not good and amazing at the same time.
Thank you so much, Da. Thank you so much for doing this. And you were so kind to respond when I texted you, and you were so generous to be
No
able
worries.
to doing this for doing this. Uh, Last that I spoke to you, you were a little under the weather. So, how are you right now?
I'm recovering. I just had my operation done, and I'm just like not being able to play futsal, and that's
Yeah,
yeah.
I've played a couple of games with you.
Yeah, I know.
Diehard Man U fan.
Of course, I'm an absolute diehard United fan, and we have the derby tonight, and fingers crossed. I don't know.
So, so that tell me how did you actually think about getting into music or making movies, because it's very difficult for someone to think of having a career in
Mhm.
that aspect, because maybe because it's very volatile. A lot of people think that maybe there are so many people out there who are trying to do it,
Mhm.
and the success ratio maybe it's very less.
Correct.
So how did you actually make a decision that okay, I want to do this?
Um, I think it was a very natural thing for me to do. But people around me told me it is very unnatural.
Yeah.
So to fight that, it took time. But I think if you have to go to the genesis of it and to really understand, then I have to go back to my childhood. I grew up with my grandfather and my grandmother, and we used to live in this beautiful countryside home, just small house, and then our house used to be covered by flowers, bougainvillea especially. We had four different kind of bougainvilleas, white, purple, the magenta, and then a yellowish kind of a thing. And I grew up with that. And then the cows, we had goats, we had chickens, we had mango trees and everything. So basically, I was in a garden and with two loving grandparents, and my mother and father, they used to work in another place. So my grandmother, I think she's one of the greatest storytellers of all time, and she's one of the greatest singers of all time, and she can make any bad song also into very good song. You get that. And my first interaction with that, when she used to hum these songs, and I used to just, it was just a natural phenomena for me and a natural instinct to just listen to it and fall in love with it, and then she used to keep on working, and then thing. My grandfather used to write a lot, and there were books all over in the house and stuff like that. And especially, uh, my grandmother and me, we used to secretly watch the Doordarshan movies, that
Oh.
used to come on the Friday nights. It was so long. The advertisements were so long, but it was really amazing to to go and understand things like that. So I think at that time, the conversations that my grandmother used to do to me, and my grandfather used to do to me, it kind of opened my mind and my thought process into the world of storytelling. Okay. And it was a musical storytelling. You get the point?
Okay.
So I used to have a guava tree right on the upper terrace. I mean, what do you call that? A terrain of there was a cow shed here, and then there was this the haystack, and right above that there was this strong guava tree, and then there used to be that one branch that used to go like this, okay, and I used to sit on it and pluck these fresh guavas from the tree and just eat it, and then down we used to see this the road was there, and then very few cars used to travel.
Okay.
And people used to walk, and I always used to imagine, oh, who are they, where are they going, why are they going, how are they going, all of those reasons. So once that things, I think these things were like the seeds that I grew up with through time, and every evening we used to have this, a family devotion time, where we used to sing songs, and especially we used to sing hymns and all, and then my grandmother, I still think she's the best, sweetest, singer, and she used to sing these songs, and I used to follow it. And then my mamas, my uncles, they all were used to play the guitar. And every Sunday when we used to go to church, we saw the musical atmosphere. Like it was almost like a thing, and you really wanted to play the guitar yourself. And in my house, there was a not even a Hofner, but Hobner guitar. It used to be that. It was a guitar that was passed down from many people, and finally it came to me, and it was so beautiful, because that was the beginning of it. My fingers used to bleed because we were trying to learn the instrument, and never saw any DVDs, never saw any videos of other people. I had no idea about all of them. But what I saw was the style of, uh, the acoustic music and the voice, these two things. And it just was so deep soaked. And then, the philosophical ideas behind the songwriting and every song having a meaning to it and all of those things. So these kind of things were a very big part of my childhood. Okay, there was one part of this. And on the other side, my church used to prohibit us from going to watch movies in the theaters. They used to say that if we go to the theaters, Satan is going to take you over and stuff like that. And but later on, I understood that what they actually meant was you could some of the movies could influence you in a wrong way, so that you could lose that. But we were at times, like governed by not by the true understanding of it, but we were governed by the fear of it.
Okay.
You get the point?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And later on, I found out that films or movies in India, the first film that was made was actually inspired by a movie that was made on the life of Jesus Christ. You get the point? It was so ironic and so funny. And the people who actually started the media, the people who actually were a part of the pioneers of this industry were actually people who wanted to, take, the gospel into the lives of other people through the television or through these mediums. But as time progressed, uh, I just kept on understanding that uh, the story matters to me, and inside a story there is always a moment. Inside big story there's only one point that we are trying to tell. That thing always used to inspire me like anything. Okay, and because of that, that thing was just soaked in me, and you won't believe it, I gave most of my exams. I did most of my exams better if anybody could just tell me the entire subject like a story. That's my way of communicating.
Yeah.
And my English teacher, I'll tell you, it was a very funny thing in school. My English teacher, most of the times, during lunchtime, we used to play football. Okay. And we used to be drenched in, what do you call that?
Are you from SAS?
Yeah, of course I am. Sweat. We used to sweat, and I used to sweat very heavily. And after class, after lunch, the whole class is stinking, because of everyone's like sweat and stuff like that. But my desk used to be on the side of the window, and there used to be this gentle breeze that used to just flow by. And most of the times, the sixth period used to be the English literature class, which is like my favorite class. And I used to put my head down and sleep. Okay, but I'm always listening. I'm deep asleep, but I'm listening. You get the point?
To other
Towards
teachers.
the teachers. And our sir, Mr. P. Devasya, he had this very funny, but very abstract, but very beautiful way of telling stories, you know. And Julius Caesar used to teach us, and a lot of other stories. And I still remember there was a story called "The Lady of the Tiger" that he had, he was telling us. And then I guess he noticed me sleeping so many times, and one of these days he thought I'm going to catch him and sort of that. So again, it was a late afternoon. The breeze is blowing. I'm asleep, and I'm listening to it. And he woke me up with a chalk, and I was like all red faced, like, yes, sir. Then he asked me a question, and he thought it was a trap. But what he didn't know that he was one of the greatest storytellers, because of which I already knew the story, what he was trying to say, And when I used to reply back the answer to him, he used to tell me, I still remember him telling me this. I don't know if you must have forgotten it, but I remember it. And I don't know if you're a mad fellow or if you're a genius. He told me that. And those words were such a huge encouragement for me. And I think one of the most important things, I've always been a very foolish person in my life, and I intend to make myself foolish every time.
Yeah, I've heard this before also.
Yeah.
I've heard someone say this, that it's always good to be foolish.
Yeah.
Maybe it's also because, like, when you're foolish, you do end up making some mistakes, which, uh, teach you a lot of things and get you into the process of learning.
Of course, yeah.
So is it because of that you just said that?
Yeah, it's because of that, and it's also because of the fact that uh, I am just a tiny speck
Mm-hmm.
in the magnitude of what has been created,
Mm-hmm.
And the more I understand that I am nothing,
Mm-hmm.
then only I will be able to truly understand something, you know. Um, yeah, I think that's the reason.
Yeah, that's like it's so beautiful the way you narrate. I mean, the way, like, even like, we just started the conversation and I just asked you a question, but the way you narrated the whole answer, I mean, I don't want to say the way you answered, because I feel the word answered is very mechanical. But the way you say it, it's like an actual narration. The way you are painting the picture of Bougainvillas, and the way you're saying that I was sleeping and the breeze is blowing. So, uh, you know, um, when you speak, there's a certain sense of calmness, and you exude that calmness, innocence, purity. And in today's time, do you feel like times like this, when sometimes maybe the artists are running behind getting a hit song, but uh, I sense that in all your songs you've tried to maintain that certain sense of calmness, the innocence and purity. So how do you get that? Means, like, how can you always be bang on about it, and how are you very conscious about it?
Uh, I really try to be unconscious about it, but there does come this consciousness about it. Mm, You know, what you just asked is actually such a big question. It has so many levels inside of it. So I'll try and respond to it as much as I can.
Yeah.
Uh, First thing, let me start by saying I don't know. Okay, that's the very important factor in it. And the second thing is, uh, you see, I've always tried to be honest about myself whenever it comes to my work of creations. And the first thing I always, whenever the word creation comes, I always uh, acknowledge this with utmost humility that I am not a creator. I'm a discoverer of what has been created. You see, that's a very big difference on this. Okay. I think I can literally challenge anyone in this world with this one particular thing is if I can ask anyone about an original idea. There is nothing original idea. It has already been created by God. And whenever the word creation comes in, if you take away God, you're foolish. You're absolutely foolish. You can be co-creators in it. Okay, now let me explain to you. Maybe it might be, you might feel a strong sense of Christianity coming into me. So let me explain
No, no,
this.
I love that aspect because we are going to talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
But
So,
please
but let
continue.
me explain this. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, creation has this very few things which is very essential in every aspect. One of the first thing in creation is it requires two people. You get the point? It requires a male, a giver, and it requires a female, a receiver. In my music, in my art, I'm the female. I receive. The giver is God. Okay. Secondly, it requires two people to be naked. Okay. Only when you are naked, only when your pretenses are down, only when your things are like scattered, and you are in that moment of extreme ecstasy, you are in the moment of that trance, you are in the moment of um, uh, you know spiritual and emotional intercourse. That is when the male drops the seed, and the female, the seed of the female, it joins together. And right after that, nothing just happens. Something somewhere in the dark when nobody else sees, that place, something is born. Now it's the responsibility of the female to carry it, to process it, and to grow with it inside of you for 9 months at least. And then you deliver. And once you deliver, you give it to the world. It is not yours anymore. So that's the process of creation. And this is something that I truly believe in. Like, okay, for example, I'll tell you, if you search, I think I have 13 or 14 songs that has been released. Okay. But if you come to my studio, or if you come to see my diaries, I have about 80, 90 songs there. But it is in that gestation period where it's in the womb. So I don't know about the innocence fact. I don't know about all of this stuff. But what I'm trying to say is, you said in a world where we need a hit song. So my formula is, in a world where we need a hit song, I want to make a song that hits you. You get the point?
Oh,
That's right.
okay.
That's my funda.
That should be like a bumper sticker. World where you need a hit song, you want to make a song that hits you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really a bumper sticker. So again, coming back to the world of artists, like I've heard you say this before, that everyone wants to be an artist, but they do not
nobody
like
wants
the
to process
process
that.
of being an artist.
Mm.
Why do you say that?
You know, like we're sitting in this wonderful cafe. This is like, as much as I know, this is like a 2.0 version of what this is, right? Downstairs, this cafe was a small place. And now this cafe is in a big place. But for the owners to come from there, it was a process. And there was a lot of labor, a lot of love, that a lot of hard work, a lot of patience, a lot of money, everything is involved. As nowadays, the tendency to speak Nepali. Nowadays, artists now, I don't know. I'm sorry, I might sound a little judgmental on this, but I just feel like for example, people discovered me in 2018. Okay, when my songs Ajapale came out. Okay, but 20, 30 years prior to that, I used to sing those songs and songs like that for a long time without being famous or without anybody knowing me. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, um, all the artists, okay, majority of the artists, if you look very carefully into them, they have spent a lot of time in the dark, uh, but with the same honesty, right? So, example, our beloved John Mayer, the riffs, the guitar riffs that he plays today is like the epitome of guitar playing at our, of what we like. Uh, Listen to his story. He always talks about those 4 years in his dorm when he used to close his room and then make those without the pressure of, like ever it being a hit or a flop or something like that. Farhan Akhtar, when he was about to direct his first movie, everybody thought that he's like not going to make it and stuff like that. But then in his room, when he used to sit and watch movies all day, everybody thought that he was not going to work in his life kind of a fellow. And I'll tell you a very funny incident. Do you know Prajwal Parajuli? He's one of our very prominent writers. His book, The Goka's Daughter, like that was amazing. And I'll tell you, he's my neighbor. His younger brother, Sajwal, we are like damn good friends, childhood friends. He's also very fond of cricket, and we used to play cricket. In fact, we used to be cricket commentators in a village village cricket scenario. So whenever I used to go visit Sajwal, Prajwal, that was always like on the seat, like reading a book or something like that. And I used to think that this guy is not good for anything. He's going to like suffer in his life, kind of. And he used to come up to me and say, "Hey, Anmol, give me your school magazine, okay?" And stuff like that. And I said, "Okay." I used to give him. I didn't know what was happening. But now, when I recollect it, when I understand it, I see that he was in the process of becoming who he wanted to be. So many people today want to lose the process. Many people want to, like not be a part of it. And they just want to come out and uh, they think that, okay, I make a damn good hook line of a song. I'm make a damn good production, damn good beat, and I'm going to make a slick video. I'm going to make something. I'm going to hire a great artist to feature in the video, and I'm going to promote it properly, and then spend a good amount of money or whatever, and then come out. And their songs become a hit also. I mean,
Yeah,
they get a lot of value also.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they get everything, but then, then
The
to
bubble
achieve that,
bursts.
they need to go and do the same thing again. You know, but if the artist, I think, if he can just sit down without an instrument and then just hear his music inside of him boil out in a beautiful way. I'm not saying doing production like that is bad. It is very much important, but that is the last step. You get the point? The step, like, if I ask you something, like, uh, I think many of us artists may not be able to answer this properly. You just have to answer the why. We all know how to make a song, okay?
Yeah.
We all know how to make a good mix. We can hire people. But there's one answer that every artist must answer, and that's a personal answer, and that is why to make the music or why to make the song. Nobody can answer that. It is the artist's responsibility. It is the artist's very personal things that is happening there. So many people I see today want to skip the why. They just want to go the how. And that is why if you sit with them on a personal level, you find out you tend to understand that they, in order for them to be happy, they need the numbers. In
Hmm.
order for them to feel satisfied or find their worth, they
Yeah.
need another hit or another hype. I'll give you an example. Till today, Adrian Pradhan is one of the biggest stars, right?
Yeah.
You know when his last hit song was?
No,
Many
not
years
exactly.
ago.
Yeah, not exactly. But we still, I mean, I still love him because I listen to Nepali
Exactly my
music a
point.
lot.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah,
legend.
yeah,
He did
he's
it
a
in his
legend.
time,
He's a
right?
legend. Yeah, yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is he doesn't need a hit song to prove himself.
Yeah.
Now, can we say the same thing about the other artists? Get the point?
Yeah, yeah, I get what you're trying to say. So, like, you just spoke about how, the artists sometimes they might run behind numbers and, external validation. So, let's talk about your album, Chemchey, right? Chemchey is, it's a poetry music album. It's such a beautiful album. You've made it in such a lovely way. You've put it out right there. But, uh, you also know this very well that the world was moving towards fast upbeat music and towards those hook lines like you mentioned
Yeah.
just now, right? So in times like these, how did you have the courage to swim against the tide and put up something like Chemche?
Maybe because that's who I am. That's who I've always been. And maybe I'm a live fish. That's why, stream
Okay.
upwards. But yeah, I get what you're trying to say. See, Chemche again comes from a very deep level of honesty and nakedness within my own self.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wanted to say something uh, that I believed in truly, and it is a deep and a personal reflection of my mind, my life, and everything. So, Chimche was done in that way, and I had such great collaborators and friends on Chimche who came and helped me and stuff like that. You won't believe me. Chimche, that video that I made called Tape Number 4. It's one of the most least videos I have. Least number of views on the video.
Tape number 4. Dear God.
Yeah, it's very
But it
less.
has not Adana in it.
Yeah, not Anan is there.
Yeah.
I intended to make that for only one person, but it ended up You would not believe the number of messages that I get for that, especially,
Or not, I don't know.
And it's not messages, it's like 4-page letters that I get. And people talk to me and they tell me how it spoke to their inner self that they had not been able to really talk to about it
Yeah,
for long.
because the way you have narrated that, I mean, like, I'm sure everyone won't have the pleasure to understand it because it's in Nepali. But if someone does understand, and if someone is in that zone, the way you've put it up, the way you are speaking, the way you're narrating, I mean, it's like goosebumps when you, like, when the video, the girl that's there in the
Yeah, yeah,
movie,
yeah,
she opens it,
yeah.
sees the tape,
Okay.
and means I can't express it
Uh-huh.
because, and I am not doing this just to flatter you,
Uh-huh.
because I really heard it, and you won't believe this, but
Mhm.
just before we decided that okay, we are going to have you on the podcast, I asked one of my friend also who's she sees the all R&D part, and
Mm.
we work together on it. So I asked her to just go through everything once, and she was on her way to Soaring, and she was telling me the whole time I was like, plugged in with the earphones, and I was just hearing it, and I got so emotional because it's really emotional. It's really emotional the way you've narrated it, the way you've put it out there. So narration is such an important part, like the way you narrate the stories. How do you maintain it? Like, again, let's continue about Chemche, but how?
I don't know about that,
Just
but see, I guess one of the thing is like, uh, there's a song that is coming out in a film. Okay, I'll just say one line of it to make you understand that. It's in Nepali. It says "Gahirole gahirole khojda." Okay, so there's a song that's going to come out that says "Gahirole jasari gahirole gahirole khojdcha, usari mayale mayalai rojdcha." Means the deep finds the deep, the deep finds the depth, and love finds love. Now, see, that's very important. I see what I know. We are like 8 point something billion people living in this world, right? And we've got so many people, and for so many people, we've got so many artists. Okay. Now, I know that I cannot cater to everybody, and I don't want to also. I just know that I want to be honest on my music, and I know people respond to honesty. Honest will find honest. So I think my music works best on people who are able to take their masks off. You get the point.
so you're very happy with the amount of people you are
Of course,
catering to.
I have more than enough. Come on, man. You, you have to understand this. When I've been lucky enough to travel with my music at various places, from the smallest to the biggest. I love the small places. Why? I'll tell you. We have this genuine conversations with them, and then they come up and then they tell me exactly how and why, and in their own weird and beautiful ways. Like, for example, we have become, what do you call that, we now know how to speak. You get the point. And that's why we are able to manipulate people's emotions at times. But there are many people who don't know how to speak, but they have the same emotion out there, and then they try and come and communicate that, and it is one of the most sweetest way they did it. Sometimes it's so direct, and you're like, huh? But then you process it and you realize, oh my god, that was so sweet. And so I believe that my formula again has been that, to be really honest. Sometimes I'm tempted to do all of those things also. Hey, I'll be very honest, and I can also. But the question I ask is, okay, if I do this, like, uh, will it make me, like, happy, and will it make me, mm, be proud of it even at a later period of time? And if my answer comes no, then I stop it. Because if you sit with me on a personal level, you find me mostly singing the blues, okay, and then you'll find me doing all kind of old 60s rock and roll things, and mixed with Bollywood and R.D. Burman and James Brown and Narayan Gopal, and all this music comes together, and we put all this together in a bowl of gospel with John D. Khawa's uncle writing. I'm there, okay? And I'm so proud. I'm so proud of my roots. I think I've been greatly influenced by the writing of John D. Kawasango. He is an amazing songwriter. He's so amazing. Like, one of my favorite songs is that he wrote the song called Mahu Euta Rito Bhado. He said, Mahu Euta Rito Bhado, Fusroma Tole Banieko. I am an empty vessel made out of mud, you know. And the tune he puts in is so amazing. It's like I have said this so many times. I am still saying he's one of my greatest influences. The next influence I have is John Denver. So all the Johns are there. So John
Okay.
Denver's, Annie's song, you fill up my senses like a night in the forest. That guy is amazing. And then John Bon Jovi, so I guess I guess I've
I
been
think most of like when even I was in school, a lot of my friends are huge fans of Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi.
Yeah, I also have a friend. His name is Susan Day.
Acha.
So he's also into music,
Uh-huh.
and he was a huge Bon Jovi fan, and he used to sing all these Bon Jovi songs with, doing all the accents. And he's a great guy. He's from Nagaland,
Oh.
and even he's into music.
Yeah.
He does put up his songs, and he's put up his songs in Spotify, and he performs gigs. It's nice. He's a nice guy. That's just a little out of context, but you were talking about your roots, and this is somewhere around 2021, that post-COVID phase. So I saw you putting up videos, where you're singing hymns and praises with your grandmom.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the very next video is with both your grandparents.
Yeah.
Right? You've also mentioned that your grandfather is a great writer, right? And everything that you do, the way you talk, a lot of it is like these aspects are there, and it's wound with a rope of spirituality.
Of course.
Right?
Because we are a spiritual being.
Yeah. So will it be fair to say, if that creative DNA plus the spirituality plus the innocence, purity, the source of everything is your grandparents?
God, then grandparents.
Okay, so God, then grandparents.
Yeah.
Okay, God is always right.
See, I think I'll tell you. I think we sometimes have misunderstood spirituality.
Yeah.
Okay, I think spirituality. When we talk about spirituality, we think like this is spiritual. It's not. We are all spiritual beings who is residing in a earth body.
Mhm.
Like you said, this is our hand. This is my mind. This thing. This is my mind. This is my heart. But there's me. Who is me? The undying me, the immortal me is the spirit, right? So most of our lives, we live from the body, then the soul, then the spirit. When in truth, the life, the original plan of the creator was spirit, soul, then body. And we've actually reversed it.
Okay.
So now when we talk about spirit, we feel like, ooh, it's so spooky, or I think it's not.
Yeah.
Spirituality is such a common thing, and we are all spiritual beings. That is why I'll tell you why artists. Why artists? I'll tell you. So many people today are working for the body of the people. Like, okay, certain things are being done. Most of it are aimed at the body side of the people. When you like a song, or when you see a painting, when you watch a movie, or when you read something, a poetry, anything, we say, it hit me here. Now, where is this here? Is it your chest? Is it your heart? No. It is actually talking about your inner self, or your spirit, or your soul. That is where art is meant for. Okay. Too many of our creations, too many of our kritis, so that we call, is sometimes a song just becomes a song for the ear. It just doesn't go in, and sometimes a visual medium is just for the eyes. But I think these two are the gates, but the destination is here. So as artists, I think it's important for us to always and always, remember that. And but that's just my thought. Some people can differ with it, and I respect that also. You know, I respect that, and I would love to know another aspect of it if there is any.
But I mean, the way you look at it and the way you speak about it, and the you know sense of, I mean, you're very okay with the way you are, right? And I think that's very important. I think that gives you a lot of security. Doesn't make you insecure. It gives you a lot of ground. Because sometimes what happens is, like, the industry is requires so much of external validation sometimes, that maybe, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but then I think that sometimes maybe during the whole course of trying to become an artist, and getting those numbers and getting to be a hit artist, sometimes maybe you drift away from what you
Of
actually
course,
believe.
of
Like, does it
course,
happen?
of course, it happens.
Did it ever happen to you?
Of course, it happens all the time, and I get insecure so many times, but I fight it.
So like you said, like, like, you fought it, and before also, in a conversation you've mentioned, like, how struggles are a part of an artist, and that's the
Everybody's
process.
life,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, of everybody's life, actually. And so, if it's okay, right, if it's not too much to ask, would you mind sharing a pivotal moment where you felt like, okay, so this is something that uh, you need to come through, and you were guided, or you had some kind of process to go through it, and because of that you finally created something which came out to be very beautiful and came out as a song, or
Chemchey,
Chemche.
Chemchey.
And very interestingly, correct me again if I'm wrong, I got to know that Mr. Nirmal Mangar suggested you to go to Chemche.
Of course, Mister. I was at that point in that period of my time where it had boiled up to such a level, and there were two ways I could be so angry about it and then write about it, or I could choose to look at the brighter side of it and write about it. But I knew something had to happen, and I wanted to go somewhere. And you know, some people in the north of Sikkim, uh, they had always told me, please come to my hotel and stay here and make songs and stuff like that. I thought I'd go there. I just called up Daya and I said, Daya, I want to go. No, why don't you go to Chemche? I said, where's Chemche? It's here. They have a nice retreat. You love it.
You loved it so much that you named the album Chemche.
Yeah. So I did go there,
Yeah.
and the hosts were amazing. The people, I did like the climbing stuff, and
Mm.
and
I see you sitting in, like, meadows and
yeah,
those hilly terrains.
yeah,
It's full of grass,
yeah.
and you're narrating. So that's Chemche?
No, that one is in Kalimpong.
Okay.
Okay, but after that, tape number 4, everything, it happened in Chemche. Nirmalda was there, Sujayda Balju was there, um, Daniel was there,
Okay.
Jonah and his wife were there. So we had like 6, 7 of us. We had like a retreat. We had like a place where I spoke out my stuffs to them, deep
Mhm.
stuffs. Then they laughed also.
Yeah.
Again, but they just became a part of my life. And then I told them about the things that I wanted to bring out, and the songs I sang it for them and Daniel and everybody. There's another song called Chadke Batas that has not come out, and
Yeah.
that's like what a song for me only, and
So
it's
Chemche is actually supposed to be a 10 tapes, right?
yeah, it's 10 tapes,
I
and
think if
I want to make this over the years.
Okay.
You get the
Because
point?
I was like, once I started, and I was like, Arey, there's only 4. And I couldn't find the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. And
I'm also waiting to see what happens in the story.
it's like you've left the album on a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
You reached tape, and I don't know if you did it consciously or if this just happened. But if someone is in the process of listening to that whole album of Chemche, so it's like you've reached till tape number 4,
yeah.
and your heart is right here, and you're like, what now? And you've just left it. So, like, I don't know if you did it consciously, or if it's only me who felt that.
No. Many people have told me that, and I guess the reason is, truth be told, I don't know what happens next myself. But I can tell you.
But
this.
did you do it consciously?
No.
It just worked.
Initially, I didn't do it consciously.
Okay.
But later on, I decided not to do it for XYZ reasons, Um, but there's a song that I want to put up. But I'm scared, because I'm so scared uh, to put it out because, uh, yeah, I'm scared, but it's a beautiful song. It's
Why? Why? Now this is very interesting. Means
no,
why would you be scared to put out a song?
come
You are
on,
such an
man.
amazing
No, that
storyteller. You're
song
amazing
is.
writer.
See, many people have traveled with me on that story. Like you, as a viewer, you've traveled with me, and
Yeah, yeah,
you kind of know the story of what's happening here,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I think me bringing the story out, the next song out, will actually disturb the equilibrium of the world right now. In in its sense, not literally the world, but things around. And I think that's a very respectful thing to do. And
So, is it? I mean, is it because it might change the equilibrium of the actual person who that album is
hello,
meant for?
hello. There's something wrong.
Did I ruffle some feathers there?
See, the
Yeah.
thing is, now, brother, I think what I think is, yeah, that those things are there. But I, as a person, have also learned and managed to grow from it, move forward. The funny thing about life, is that we end up thinking everything in this life is about us when it's not.
So true. Yeah.
The moment we learn to accept that, the things become so much easier,
Exactly. Yeah.
you know, and you don't have to prove anything to anyone, you know. So when I learned that and I understood that, a new world opened up for me, which I was not prepared for. It was like it was it was that I was right there and I had never seen it. You get the point?
I get it.
It was so in front of my eyes.
Maybe that perspective hadn't
Yeah,
opened up
exactly
till
my
then.
point. And that is when I discovered that was already created, that, oh, I'm on like this. I'm on the road, and previously I was walking. Now I'm on a nice car on the same road.
Okay.
But the travels are becoming much faster and stuff like that. But it's a beautiful journey, and to be to be able to do Chemchey. But I kept uh, Chemchey locked there. And I don't know what happens to Chemchey. The songs of Chemchey are there already. It's already written.
Yeah, but you're not sure if you want to
Yeah,
put it
yeah.
out or.
Maybe, who knows, later on, somewhere 20 years down the line, when I'll only have one listener or two listener to it, that might I'll bring it out. Maybe, who knows.
You can still add one more.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah, yeah.
definitely listen.
But it doesn't matter because that's the thing. But my life, Chemche is a part of my life. That's not my life in its entirety.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a life that is waiting to be explored, and there's a life that I am uh, so happy and so proud of discovering. And I am a much wiser man than what I
Yeah.
was before.
And like when you speak about God and spirit, you speak about it with so much of innocence and purity. And it's also there in one of the tapes where which is called Teen Kune
Teen
Maya,
Kune Maya, yeah.
right, where you say a relationship is between three people. That's you, me, and God.
Yeah.
Right. So how means, like, what made you open your perspective that way? I mean, because I don't think so a lot of people think about it that way.
Mhm.
And especially in times like today when situationship has become such a huge thing,
Of course.
right? And the way you say it, the way you think about it, the way, and I'm sure you actually believe in it. That's why you.
Yeah, I do.
That's why you have put it out there.
I do believe
So, how do you like? I won't say maintain, but how did you open yourself to the world in that way?
Yeah, see, after my divorce, a lot of my so-called understanding about relationships and love was broken down into pieces, was crushed and made it into a powder, and then brewed a coffee out of it and given back to me. But after that, I'm grateful to my ex-wife for all the amazing thing that she added in my life. Of course, I was hurt with many of the. I'm sure I hurt her also a lot of things. But after my divorce, when I, again, as I told you, when I stripped myself naked in front of my creator, and I said that, God, my whole life I had been an ambassador of love. Like I carried the flag of love everywhere, saying love, 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 love. In fact, the first solo song that I ever sang was "Love Will Keep Us Alive."
I know about
Yeah.
that also in your
So
school.
yeah,
Yeah.
and after all that thing, when I came to that place, uh, when I said, "Okay, I don't know anything. I want to unlearn whatever I've learned. Now teach me. Please teach me." Those were the times when I started to study love. Get the point? Now, this is a very important point now we have come across in this conversation because I started writing a series called Love Education. We live in a world where there's the normal education, there's financial education, there's even bloody sex education. But you know what the problem is with in every people, in every household, in every other relationship, we are never taught how to love.
That's, I
And that is
mean,
the area we suffer the most, right? The situationship that we call today is the truth is we are actually unaware on how to love. And we think love cannot be taught. We are so wrong. We are so wrong. Love can be taught. Love is the hardest thing to do. People want to be in love, but that's the hardest thing to do. If you look at the Bible, first thing it says love is patient. Oh my God. There only things end.
yeah, especially in today's time, the
Yeah.
patience is,
And it says
even
love.
us,
Yeah.
patience
It
is
says
very.
love does not keep account of all your wrongs. So, finish. Tata. Bye bye. So I feel that, but then if it is so hard, if then it is so hard, then
Why do
then
people
why
still want to
do
do it?
because human beings were created in the innate way to love and to be loved. Okay. So there was this one guy in the Bible. It says this one guy, he came up to Jesus Christ and he said, "You know what? I followed all the 10 commandments, and everything. What do you want me to do?" He said, "Sell off all your things and follow me."
Mm-hmm.
Huh? What are you talking about? You're crazy. Okay, another guy came. He said, "Okay, God, you get 10 commandments, but what's like, okay, 10 is there, but what are you actually trying to say? What are like the most important commandments?"
Mm-hmm.
The most important commandment, God said, is love your God above everything else and love your neighbor as you love yourself. If the creator of everything
Mm.
is emphasizing so much on love, that means love must be something, right?
Yeah.
Right? See, today, one of the greatest mistakes people have done is people have reduced love to a feeling.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Get the point? So when you are in
I'm
love,
starting to get the point. Or not starting means this is something very new for me because for me, love is a feeling, right?
no. When you're in love, you get the feeling, but
Okay.
the feeling is not love. Because you talk to many relationships,
Okay.
2 years down the line, you lose the feelings, man. You lose the feeling. It's not so many relationships are like that. I don't feel for you anymore like that.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I not feeling for you the way I used to feel about you? Because love is not a feeling.
That's why
Love,
love fades away. That's
that's
why
what
they
you
say.
see. If you heard, I didn't know it was called a podcast then, but I was trying to make a film. It was called Christmas in September. Okay.
Okay.
I started the line of the
It's
podcast.
a short film.
It's a feature film.
Okay.
I started the podcast. It was an audio narrative.
Okay.
It was actually meant for my actors,
Okay.
which leaked out.
Okay.
And in the time of Bluetooth,
Okay. Okay.
and it became quite a viral thing. And I started off by saying that, I had a friend called Ashwin, and he used to tell me, "Anmol, why did you break up with that girl? You used to really love her." And I told Ashwin, "I lost my feeling." I said this in Nepali, but that's the thing. And I started the whole conversation there. Okay? And now when I think about it, today, the truth is, I can feel so bad about you. Okay? I can feel so bad about you, yet I can love you. You get the point? If I am feeling overwhelmed with all the good feelings about you, then I can do anything in this world. But then love, we require courage when we are scared. We require courage when we are scared. We require love when you don't feel like loving. You get the point? That's when we actually
Yeah.
need love, you know? So today we've reduced love to a feeling, and because of that, so many relationships, so many of us fall into the trap that it's finished, it's gone. That's why we need to search for that feeling somewhere else.
But it's like it's so mature of you. I mean, like, I think it's also because of the experiences, because yeah, of course experiences do make you wise, but it takes a wiser man to actually learn from those experiences and get wiser and get mature enough to because a lot of people won't be able to take things in that light. They would end up uh, I don't know. I'm not saying anything, but then things can go in a very different
Yeah.
direction as well. I
You,
mean,
you know,
like
I mean, so sorry to cut you off, but I need to just add one thing here, you know.
mhm,
Now I might sound like I'm such a wise guy telling all
mhm,
the stuff, you know, but
mhm.
the actual truth is I am the guy who has done the most number of mistakes in my life. I think more mistakes than anybody else, you know.
But I still stand by it because
Mhm.
uh, the way I see it, experiences. Because at a very early stage, even I had experiences where I lost my father at a very early stage.
Mhm.
So I personally also do believe this, that experiences and things, they do happen in life, but I don't. I don't want everyone to agree with me, but
Mhm.
this is just my point of view, and this
Mhm.
is how I believe
Mhm.
what I believe in. Experiences do happen in life, but and we also do make mistakes,
Mhm.
but it takes real courage to actually accept yourself after making those mistakes,
Mhm.
and you know um, taking it in a positive light and making sure that you don't do it again,
Mhm.
plus growing from it,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
true.
a lot of people, what I feel, things can go in a very different way,
Yeah,
it can go in very different
things mostly
directions.
go in a different
Yeah,
direction.
it can
Mm.
go in very different. So that's also the reason why I still stand by it when I tell you that you are really wise. Because when we are in the zone, where we are in the moment, when we are feeling those feelings and we are having those experiences, when we are not like saints, I mean, we all are human beings. We are allowed to, I think, make
Mm.
that amount of mistakes. But the acceptance that comes later, I mean,
Mm.
not from the world,
Mm.
but from within ourselves, because
Mm.
sometimes people, they are not able to accept themselves
Mm.
after they go through the process, because maybe they're blaming
Stuff.
themselves, or they have gone through so much that they feel that, okay, what am I supposed to do? So
Accepting the
things,
truth about yourself is very
yes,
hard.
it's very hard, it's very hard. So yeah, I think that's also the reason why I say and I stand by it, that it's really mature of you and really wise of you to come
uh,
here and speak. Thank you so much for that.
thank you for that.
And so, okay, now moving to a very beautiful aspect of your life
Mhm.
again, that is the world of cinemas and filmmaking,
Oh my
right?
god.
And I see how passionate you are about it and the way you narrate it. And so, but before we dive very deep into it, I want to start at a point where I don't know, maybe a lot of people might not know this about you. What happened in Bombay and Balaji telefilms?
I,
And correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I heard this as a rumor. I could not bang on have a source.
uh-huh.
But were you associated with the serial Bade Achhe Lagte Hain?
I can only tell you one thing. Uh, I ran a momo shop there. I can tell you this. Forget about all the stuff. The momo shop was there, and the student films used to be made. And then I had a friend called Sankit Deshpande. I used to borrow his scooty, and from the PG I was living in, I used to make momos and sell it in the set, and it was a beautiful time I had. But I'll tell you one thing, mm, that really does not matter to me because I tell you, you know what? I did all of the stuff, but when I decided to come back, and the moment I had a moment of clarity was I met so many people saying, मैं तो 25 साल से struggle कर रहा हूँ, मैं 15 साल से कर रहा हूँ, and that was not, and they were telling it as with so proudly, I, f- I mean, I felt strange about it, like, and I said that I wanted to make films, struggles. I'm not saying that they think, but the way they were telling me, you know, having this conversation with me, I felt very something is not right about it. I felt that. And then I asked my question, Anmol, what do you want to do? I said, I want to make films. This conversation, what kind of films? Hindi films. I never thought about it. I never thought, and I had this talk with myself and said, who's stopping you to go and make films back in your place in your own language? Who? And I tried to look here and then nobody's stopping me.
Okay.
You get the point?
Okay.
Nobody's
You
stopping
really
me.
have this conversation
Of
with
course,
yourself.
I'm a pretty dramatic fellow. I do have all this
Okay.
conversation with myself.
Okay.
You've never seen the film Birdman?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. So I do have this conversations with myself, and
In front of a mirror.
yeah. I mean, sometimes my soul, my spirit, and my body, we sit together and we talk. We have this very interesting conversation going on.
Podcast of your own.
going on. Yeah.
Okay.
And but yeah, so when I said that I want to come back, my father was shocked like anything. My mother was like shocked. Everybody was shocked, and I don't know what to do. And at that time, the first thing I decided to do was wedding films. Now you have to understand. Today, there is an industry called wedding films, right? Remember those times the wedding videos used to be like the bride and the bridegroom's photo used to come out of a flower.
Of a flower,
and then-
fountain.
Yeah, fountain. And then there used to be this long background music of Titanic music and saxophone playing.
Yeah.
And then people are eating and the
Yeah.
camera is right here.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So in that, I thought, how can I start? From where can I start? So that was the time. My first job, I did this with my friend called Bishan Tirva. He's an amazing friend. He was more into cameras. I was more into direction and stuff like that. I said, let's do it together. You do photos, I'll do video. Okay. How much we're going to charge? I don't know. We said, so we got one gig. Okay. And the person said, how much are you going to charge? 5,000.
Wedding photography.
Photography and filmmaking.
You started from there.
Yeah. And,
Okay.
And the wedding photography and film. And then guy got shocked because the premier people of who used to do that, used to do it for 3,000. And on top of that, they used to play that wedding video on the cable TV also. You get the point? So out there, two young boys are coming and saying they want to do that. And for 5,000, we took a lot of convincing. And you know what he said? I will only give you the money after watching the video. Okay, done.
Challenge accepted.
We came to Siliguri to buy a DVD. It's non-scratched DVD. And it used to cost us 75 rupees or something like that on a wholesale rate. We went to Systematics to print the CD covers. Again, everything ready. And then we said, and for me was the bride was the hero. I mean, the heroine. The bridegroom was the hero. The families are the supporting actors. And I was always in search of a villain. I always used to wonder again, if somebody is like in a church, if anyone has anything to say, speak now. I always used to hope that some guy was like, so I have a problem,
Okay, you also a very filmy guy.
Yeah,
filmy guy.
yeah. So I saw that, and so that was my take on that thing, wedding. Okay, and I started interviewing people. Okay, and
You
that
expected some point of time somebody, ye shadi nahi ho
nahi ho
sakti."
sakti kind of thing.
Okay.
But so I started people, and I started talking to the bride, and I just didn't realize that I started understanding that people had so much to say. That's when I understood that, I did that, and I saw the father, in the midst of he's greeting everyone and stuff. And the father gave a glance to his daughter, just a tiny glance, which I had actually captured in 60 frames. The glance was a very tiny 2 seconds. He gave that glance and he walked out. Time passed by. The moment of truth. She got married. She went away. Now it's the time to collect our payment. And we spent 4,500 rupees making that.
Making that.
Yeah.
And you're charging
5,000 rupees.
Okay.
I was so scared. Anyways, 2 DVDs. I'm very nervous. And I go to this house and I knock on the door. Good.
Moment of truth.
Yeah. You know what he said?
What?
I will only give to you after watching comments.
Okay. So did you go in?
Of
Did
course.
you sit with him?
And, people are used to watching it for like 3 hours, right? My video was 20 minutes. That was also including where they put the khadas and all, you know.
Mm.
I put it there. Auntie was there, uncle was there, and the sister's brother was there. We all sitting in one couch and watched. I've never been that nervous in my life. It's like my test.
Okay.
All color graded footage, background score, everything and stuff like that, you know. And then it started. And then you remember I told you the bride was speaking, and I had a 60 frame second shot of
the father giving the glance.
That glance.
Yeah.
I match cut those with the background score and with what I was speaking.
Do you remember what did you put as the background score?
No, I don't remember.
Okay.
It must have been a piano or something.
Okay.
Thing. And I made it like a documentary basically. And I still remember uncle, Tom's uncle, hugging me after that. And you know what he said? Now on, all the weddings in my family you are going to get. And that was how I made my first 5,000 rupees, out of which 4,500 went there.
Yeah.
And 500 rupees, I think we ate chola. You know? So,
you must have been like, yes.
Yeah. So that grew my confidence to another level, you know, because I was being able to see emotions in people here, there, everywhere, you know.
I mean, this is the first time I'm visualizing a wedding as a movie when you're saying that, giving that glance, that 60 frame shot, and someone entering and being like, and all that. This is
and it took us a little time to convince people that weddings is now films. You get the point. And then the internet picked up and stuff like that. I mean, YouTube as a career. And then I discovered that there's a guy who does this professionally called Vishal Punjabi or something. That's when I did, so, okay. And then by that time we had already started doing a lot of wedding film. And the thing is, like, we couldn't sleep because we used to get so many ideas. I mean, so many requests to film the weddings.
Okay.
And it takes a hell lot of a time to edit it, to shoot it. We hardly slept. And it was taking a toll. And we did this for many years, you know. And at that time, the premier guy and young new guy was coming in. He was Jonah. Amazing guy. Now he's like the leader in it, you know. Like Praveen, myself, Bishan, we were doing it. And before that, other people were also probably doing it. And then, you know, making the coffee table books out of those thing, you know. So in our region, that thing happened and it gave us good money that we had not seen before. Okay. At one point, I was making like 35K a day.
A day?
A day.
And this is in the year?
This is in the year 2013.
2013.
Yes. And it was good money.
Good money.
And it was going around like that. But I started not being able to deliver to clients.
Okay.
Footage is getting lost. Hard drives crashing. So that system was not ready. And stuff like that were happening. And then I had this question. Like, it's beautiful money, it's everything. But I felt I was getting trapped into it. Okay. No, it's 2011 actually. So what I'm doing. And I was getting trapped into it. And then I said to myself, I'm gonna leave it. I was getting 35K a day. So imagine your lifestyle. It changed. You just checking in dollar. You don't even ask what's the tariff. You don't even pay and you go. It's good money going around. And that's when I started eating a lot outside and stuff like that. But then came this moment where I said, no, I have to quit. Because it is not in alignment the vision I have of myself. A few of my friends are like, are you mad? What are you talking about? But then they're just like, but if that's what you want to do, go ahead. So I took the middle path. What I did was I stopped doing things, but I used to do ghost editing for a lot of people. You know? That's how I started making my money. And then I started writing my film.
How did you go from being like, doing well, in fact, in wedding photography and filming, from there to say Appa?
Absolute zero. By becoming absolute zero, by finishing all of my savings, and by being so foolish enough that I can do it, you know. When that thing happened, you know, when Appa, for example, Appa was written like 4 years ago, before we started actually filming it, you know. When I did Christmas in September, we did it at a very tiny budget, and so gracious of the producers. Then so we did it. We did it. It was a film school for me. That was my actual film school. I learned.
Christmas in September.
Yeah, I learned raw filmmaking. I learned hustling. I learned so many different things. Okay. After that, I picked up, and that was the time I'd already written Appa. In fact, 10, 15 scripts are ready. You get the point. But then which one to do, why to do, how to do is all of those things. And that time I said, I'm going to now make a film. It at least needs to be 1 crore, the budget. So when I say that 1 crore, it means, what does it mean? It means I was not going at money. I was not looking at money. People thought that I'm big, money and stuff. No. What I was focusing on was
the freedom of being able to.
Yeah, the vision of what I wanted to do at that particular time. So that was when Appa happened for me. And then it took me 4 years to actually make it happen,
Appa is like, it's a very pivotal movie for the Nepali movie industry, right?
Of course it is.
And if I'm not wrong, it ran for almost 60 days, right?
True.
Which is a huge thing for a Nepali movie. And it also got released in multiple theaters in India as well, right? So, but you've always said this, I've heard you saying this before, that Appa might not be a very great movie, but it's a very important movie.
Film. It's a very important
film. Why do you say that?
See, since we both love football, I'll give you an example of football, In our industry or in any place, everybody wants to be the Messi, the Ronaldo, the Benzema, Xavier. Everybody they want to be that of the industry, right? Yeah. But the need of the hour is, first we need to have a playing ground.
Exactly.
Then only we'll be able to be that, right?
Exactly.
Imagine if there was no football stadium, we would never had a Messi or a Ronaldo. But I am thinking about the guy who decided that the stadium is going to be this way, the ground is going to be, the pitch is going to be this way. I think Appa was able to do that because see, before us, Tulsi Gimire sir, Samal Pradhan sir, but Tulsi Gimire in particular was the stalwart in our cinema, where Nepali cinema had its golden period, Ugen Chopel sir, Danny Renzongpa sir, they all made these amazing cinemas at that time. And they had taken it to a pinnacle. And after the year 2000, it collapsed. Many people were trying to do it, but they were not being able to do it. But after 19 years of Darpan Chaya, biggest Nepali hit, theater is opened up for Nepali cinema after 19 years. And after that, today you see, you want to see a Nepali movie? Chalo, what's there? Let's say a Nepali movie has come, we're going to watch. So it has become a frequent thing now. And for that reason, Appa is very important. I'm not saying it's I who did it. I said the film Appa is very important because I also don't know why people came and saw it.
Yeah. It was really well received by the audience. Even even my mom.
Yeah.
I mean, because we watch a lot of Nepali movies. I won't say we watch a lot of Nepali movies, but back in the day, when we were in Shillong, I remember watching Surbe Sur and Sun Ko Uthi. It's actually a play, right?
My favorite play.
Yeah, it's a very funny one and it's really nice. But mainstream cinema in theaters, that was a little missing at that point of time. And Appa did that, right, for sure. So, but tell me how, like you said, that you had a vision that I'm going to make this movie and at least this budget, right? But making a movie is like, it's very complex, right? Making a full-fledged feature film because you have, of course, director, you are there, writer, you are there, but you also have a lot of other people, right? You have cameraman, DOPs, producers, executive producers, and, other actors, supporting actors, so many different aspects. So, how did you train yourself and how did you get them? How did you pitch for the very first time?
On the job.
On the job. Were you so sure that you'll be able to do it?
No, I was not, but I needed to. I got so scared of my DOP so many times because he was so senior than me. And he was senior than me and you used to give me that looks outside times, because he must have been frustrated. I'm a bloody new guy wanting to do that. But then I understood one thing. By the time I finished the film, what I understood was, even during the thing, one thing I was trying to say was, I don't need to show off myself. And that's something that I don't do at all. I don't need to show off. You get the point? Sometimes people want to impress people on the set. by being rude, by being,
Showing authority and all that.
authority and stuff like that. In fact, one hired personality from the camera team in from Nepal. You know what he told me on set?
What?
Daddy Saab, please be like a director. He told me that. Because they were like
Okay.
used to
Okay.
the authority. And they used to be that, no, it's not finished, They never used to question it. But because I was learning. Okay. So the one thing that I learned very quickly and was emotion management, emotional intelligence. That's something that I learned, and that's one of the most important aspect of filmmaking, decision making. Okay, these few things. Forget the creative side. If you're able, see, I think direction is, when you have great actors that, the job of the director at most times I feel is to create that environment, the environment. And if you, like, for example, human beings, we respond to environments. For example, when this nice cozy place, that's why we're feeling that warm vibe going around. As soon as we change the environment,
Yeah, yeah.
we start speaking differently. So I think as a director, my job was to do that. And you got this so many scary people looking at you, judging you, maybe, and like, you kar payega ki nahi payega and stuff like that. There, all the unsaid things in their eyes. How you need to shut all of it, hold down, and then focus on the picture that you've seen in your mind. Appa is 40% of what I actually wanted to make. It's 40% of what I actually.
Just 40%.
Yeah, it's not even that all. But the whatever 40 is there, it's my honest self. So many directors we have this today, like, I want to prove it to them. When I was making it, I sincerely tell you, I didn't even realize that I had to do that. Okay, it was like I just was making a film for myself first, and then if I would be able to enjoy it or not. But I had such a great team that who understood that I was making it. I'm a newbie to it, and they were very lenient and kind, especially Daya Hang Rai.
Mm. Were you like, Mr. Dayahang Rai, right? At that point of time when you were directing Appa, like you said, you were a newbie, but he wasn't.
He was
He's quite a name in the Nepali movie industry. Were you starstruck or overwhelmed or maybe intimidated at
the
any
first
point
time
of
when I
time?
met him. I was not intimidated. I was very excited.
So kind of
Yeah,
overwhelmed.
yeah. I was overwhelmed. And you know what he told me? Amol, it's very nice that you're over. I like that. He said, but when you come on set, I want you to be my director. That's what he told me.
That's very sweet and mature of him.
That's why he's on top, man.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no, I mean, he's booked for 2 years now. I'm waiting to do my next film with him, but he's already booked. And so I'm just waiting when he'll be free so that I can go and talk to him.
There's so much of like, the process. I still want to know this that sometimes, you know the destination about where you want to reach,
Uh-huh.
but you don't know how to
How to
reach there. So did you at any point of time, because making a movie has so many different layers to it, right? Being able to manage, and being a director, you will have to be able to manage almost everything. I mean, I'm not saying that you have to micromanage it, but at least on the surface level, you'll have to manage it, right? You need your photography team, you need your music team, you have to manage everything.
Where there is an industry, those things are divided. But here, there was no industry. So that is why we had to take on multiple roles.
So I'm sure you would like, you are seeing this also. If
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not saying that you're going and standing and doing it yourself, but at least you
No, I
need to
did
know.
it. I stocked the posters also all around Siliguri. Because
Yeah.
I had to save some money in it. I've just done that. But see, that's what I'm trying to say, that it is such a beautiful privilege to be able to do that at one point, okay? But after a certain time, when you start becoming a part of the industry, and especially the movie making industry being such an expensive one, even the low budget movies cost 1 crore rupees today, there is so many things involved so that you cannot go wrong, and so many levels. So that's why we need an industry where people have specialists in each job to be able to do that. Before that, all of us were making movies because we were like so amazed by the world of it, and we all didn't know how to make it. So let's make it, and we made so many mistakes together. But that honesty again is not going to come again. So you know, as you were saying, you know the destination, this is where you need to reach, but you don't know how. That how figuring out is the most exciting part of cinema making. If you know how also, then it's gone.
Then the fun is gone.
Then the thrill is gone.
So
like
is it?
BB King
So
said.
is it? Will it be fair if I say between the starting point and the end point being your movie, the how is actually the process
Yeah, yeah.
of how
Of
you make the
course,
movie?
I'll tell you, making a film is like building two houses and having a baby at the same time.
Why do you say that?
Because it's
So difficult.
yeah. And on top of that, especially when you're making a film from our part of the world. Okay, that's one. Number two is this important thing that I'm trying to say. I just slipped out of my. Okay, it's this. When we make a film, um, it's very easy to lose perspective
Yeah, I was about to come to
of
that.
why you are making this film. Okay,
Yeah.
so director or the maker needs to keep that intact because in the end, the audience is going to get that why you were making this film. They'll forget the how. That how is for you
Yeah.
to figure out, but
Yeah.
why is for the audience. They'll come and realize, oh, Acha, he was trying to say this. And then when you agree with it, you like it so much.
Yeah, I was about to get to that point because when you start, I'm sure you must have had a vision of how you want the audience to see the movie, right? But making a movie is a very long process,
Very
right?
long.
It takes sometimes it takes almost a year also,
Yeah,
right?
all
How
that.
many months did it take for?
It took me a little more than a year.
A little more than a year. But we see, like, a basic, sometimes basic things also that we do, we lose perspective, right? Because, say, we have a habit, right? We don't do it every time, we don't do it diligently. But catering to that same perspective and getting that final result,
Of
and
course,
because it's very difficult.
the joke that you wrote, first 10 times you find it so funny.
Funny, yeah.
And after the 11th time, it's not funny
Yeah,
anymore.
because it's so right there in front of you.
Yeah.
You're doing it every day.
Uh,
So has it happened that, okay, you have thought that, say, scene number, say maybe 50 or 60 is gonna come much later, and now you have thought about it in a certain way, but by the time you reach to that process, the movie has come up in such a way
it
that
doesn't make sense.
it doesn't make sense. Has it happened?
Yeah, of course it happens like that. So many times it happens like that. That's why I've changed my entire process and I've unlearned and relearned a lot of things. For example, I'll tell you, right when Appa was a hit, I got many offers to make films. I didn't do it.
Yeah, I did notice that as well.
I didn't do it at
Why?
all because I knew I need to work on the ground more. I realized something. See, I'll tell you. What I learned, the greatest thing was somehow we managed to make the film. And then a new subject came about. It was how to sell the film, market the film. Now, that was a subject that if we don't know how to do it, we have absolutely no idea how to do it. So, whatever little we knew or we learned on the job, we just threw it on the face and it worked. It worked. Okay. After that, I did my math, I did my everything, I did a review of what's happening. The success of Appa, I'll tell you, in the theaters in India alone, about 1,25,000, 30,000 people came and saw. Okay. Statistically, that's very bad because we live in a population of about 30, 40 lakh people in and around Sikkim, Darjeeling, Siliguri, everywhere. This thing. Assam thing is another thing. So let's say in India, we always keep on saying the figure 1.5 crore Nepalese are there, and Nepali speaking people are there. So if it is, let's say, 1.25 crore Nepali speaking people in India and 1,25,000 saw it, that means I failed. Okay. What I understood was the success of Appa was amongst the 1 crore 25 lakh people, at least 80 lakh people know about Appa and want to see Appa. But there's not a way for them to see it. That is why when the film came on YouTube, it blew up. Millions of people saw it. Right? That is when I understood that there is a need for the playground to be made. That is why I got involved in helping other people make films by being a part of their films through executive production, by being line manager, by just being people off screen, by distributing it to build a network so that The ecosystem of survival, and the ecosystem where people can actually thrive. Now there are few producers who actually make money out of films that they make. All other else producers, they don't make money because they are involved in making the film. But if all of us could come together and make an industry, all of us could come together and make a playing ground, then the films would make. Okay. And many producers come into this thing for their own reasons. Actually, the word producer is wrong. They are just finances. Producer is an absolutely different terminology.
Yeah, actually, the literal meaning is very
Yeah.
different from
Okay.
what.
But that's where we need to start. Okay. But there are these nice people who come and bring their money, bring their. Now, I always tell them, anybody wants, I don't just need your money. You need to bring your time. You need to bring your commitment. And they're like, I don't know. And I said, okay, if you are a contractor, if you are a government contractor and you get a tender of, let's say, 10 crores to make a road. Have you ever made a road before? No, but you will learn how to make a road and still make the out profit, right? Why don't you do that in filmmaking? Filmmaking, one of the things is filmmaking makes you feel delusional because you're always in the spotlight. And when the spotlight, many, I've seen people go delusional. And I have had those moments myself. And, it just makes you lose perspective at times. And then you just become someone else at a certain point of time, but you still got to keep up to that spotlight. That is one place that I've always deliberately said, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be there. I am the most simple person in my life. I'm the most available person. My phone number is there on WhatsApp, on my Facebook page, because I want to be someone who is available for people. If there's something that I don't want to do, I will honestly say I don't want to. So many times of my life has gone into pleasing people that I made a lot of mistakes. Because of that, I suffered a lot. You know, but I'm so happy for the. Not everything's going to be right always, but I'm happy that with all of us today, we have somewhat kind of an industry. But if more people join in, we can actually make it. Right? And after the industry, after the market is there, after the playing field is there, then we can become the Messis and the Ronaldos and stuff like that. I have 15 great scripts with me. But if I do that, I know I'm going to make a loss. I know it. So right now, I'm waiting for a film that I can meet at a budget from where I can recover also, so that I'm able to do. And I believe it's going to take a little time, but the newer generation, I hope one day they'll appreciate what we have done. I hope one
Yeah,
day,
I'm sure they will.
yeah,
But movies like, uh, I mean, no offense to the other movies that have been made in the Nepali movie industry, but something like Appa, something like Pahuna, right? Something like this movie where Mr. B.T. Kancha is featured. The name of the movie is Kazi,
Kazi, yeah,
right? Something like that. And, I think these type of movies, which is like, the whole even in the mainstream Bollywood movies also now, they are more raw, more unfiltered, and that's what people like,
yeah,
because now OTT is so
exactly my
readily
point.
available.
BT, I mean, I forget his real name was Biswas. Yeah,
Biswas da, yeah.
I don't know if there's any clever guy and in a good way, in a amazing guy than him.
I love him. I met him. I told him about the podcast also. I was supposed to get him also, but sadly he met with an small accident.
Oh, acha,
Yeah,
he's fine,
and yeah, he's fine. I think now he's fine, and we couldn't shoot with him.
but he's amazing.
He is amazing. I have gone to so many of his shows.
He's like,
Yeah,
see, that's
he's
what
so
I'm.
funny,
He's
and
absolutely
it's so
funny.
difficult to actually be funny like right on the spot. But
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
like,
yeah. He's that. So that's what I'm trying to say. See, that's one part that he shows us, but inside of him,
his writing is also
amazing,
really good. Yeah, yeah.
and that's what Biswas. Biswas will come up with his movies. He's already, I think, touch with many makers, stuff like that. And but having said that, one day we're all going to come in that line is going to be there, and we have to meet at that line. Every one of us will reach that line. We have reached that line. So I think that there is a silent responsibility that every maker needs to address, and that is, uh, while we are making our own films, we have to build the industry. Okay, if you look at us, the 50s ka Bombay ka scene hai, when the movies were being made, how they used to make movies, the companies, the people, everything was there, and there has to be a lot of challenge takers and sacrifices, and we have to go through a lot of losses, and we need actually धंधा जानने वाला आदमी होता है ना, धंधा
हाँ
वाला
हाँ
आदमी.
हाँ हाँ.
You get the point?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, all creatives are making this. I mean, we need some serious finance guys to enter this.
Hmm.
Once that thing
Yeah,
happens,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they both का balance होगा.
Because if you look at Bollywood or maybe even Hollywood or even the southern industry, I mean, it's not just. I mean, they do deliver great stories and all those things are there, but it's also a business and it's a huge
Huge.
business.
We need Marwaris
So-
entering. For a start, I'm
Yeah,
telling
yeah.
you, we need at least 8-10 Baijan to enter our industry.
I think Nepal has so many Marwadis and they're killing
Of
it.
course.
Right?
Of course.
I mean, business agar
I cannot
सीखना
tell
है,
you on this podcast, but of course,
yeah. I mean, I have Marwadi friends who are from Nepal.
they are amazing.
I mean,
we need
and
them.
I actually, my initial days in Siliguri when I had just come, I mean, not the very initial ones because I'm here from 2000, but 7, 8, 9, I had a lot of friends who are Marwadi. And, they were into business. I mean, their parents were into business, but they were always like, कि हाँ business करना है, आगे जाके business ही करना है and all that. And for some reason, teachers used to, few teachers, I'm not saying everyone, but few teachers used to kind of look down, saying कि everything is settled for you, you have to eventually go into business, क्या ही करेगा, like that. But now that I have grown up, I really think that, what's wrong in it? I mean, rather than being, not having a vision, not having any direction, rather than that, I have seen people 28, 29, they're still struggling. And these people are like literally married and,
Settled.
settled and they're earning in lakhs and crores. And I'm like, oh, I mean, why were they looked at as if like, it's a bad thing to do because it's a huge deal to, like just take over the business and grow it also.
Mind.
It's a huge deal. So I have serious respect for these people that when
course.
we were very young, when we were busy doing other things, these people used to like even at that point of time maybe they thought that like क्या यार मेरे को तो दुकान पे बैठना है like that. But eventually it worked out for them, na?
Of course.
The
course.
remaining part of their life, it's I won't say easy because they have their own struggles, but they at least have a direction from a very
Of course.
Initial part.
Marwari
Whereas-
is damn good with money.
Yeah.
We're damn good with talent.
Yeah, their business mindset is like
If these
Too good.
two people come, amazing thing.
yeah.
Either I want a Gujju entering or I want a Marwari entering the Nepali industry. I'm telling you, if they come and they come,
Yeah.
and they partner it with the
Yeah. They bring their business acumens.
and the creative strength of the Nepali speaking people.
Yeah.
आग लगा देगा, आग.
आग लगा देंगे, आग लगा देंगे. It was so lovely to talk to you. That was so comfortable. You made me feel so comfortable, right?
Amazing.
And I mean, the basic idea of why we are trying to do this is bring out more people. Like actually, what I feel is like the people from the Northeast, they have not been featured that much, right?
Uh-huh.
And I feel like we should know about your stories
Of
also,
course.
right? And people from different professions who have excelled so much, like not just from this region but also from other states in the Northeast, right? So that's the whole idea about it. And I'm sure the viewers and the younger generation, they'll be inspired by the way you've spoken about spirituality, about making the music, about the kind of struggle and all these things, right? It's I mean, usually you use the word serene for a very picturesque kind of landscape, but I would use the same word for the way you have described so many things today. It's so
Thank
insightful.
you very much.
Thank you so much, Da, for doing this.
Thank
It's
you. Really,
such a pleasure to
such a pleasure to be here, and I
have-
wish your podcast the best, and I
Thank
hope
you.
it just
Thank
grows.
you so much. Thank you so much. Da. Right before we end this, just a word of advice for anyone who's trying to, because I usually have this notion that everyone teaches you how to be successful, but through my podcast I want to convey and try to teach, or maybe try to at least help for people to fail gracefully, so that they can learn better. And because everyone's teaching you how to be successful, but no one's teaching you how to fail, because I feel personally that it's very tough for you to fail and then come back up.
No, I mean, you if you look at all the success stories,
Yeah.
the people who have failed
Yeah.
are the success stories.
Exactly. But the perspective.
Yeah. So many people take failure as like I'm finished kind of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that, see, it's not something that you can tell or something. But I think what I'm trying to tell is, like you said, fail graciously or fail properly.
Yeah.
You know, for that to happen, it can only happen if a person is honest.
Exactly.
Again, bringing that thing up. Okay.
Exactly.
If you have a ulterior motive inside of you and you're doing something, let's say, for example, if you're speaking to someone, your actual intention is something, and but you're trying to say something, and if you fail, you will be very disappointed because you did not meet your motive at all. But when you're honest about it and when you fail, what happens is every time you fail, you know that, okay, what I did wrong, how I can make it right. That thing is it. So I think if fail honestly, yaar, समझ में आ गया? People are not failing honestly. People are failing very falsely. So if that happens, I think success is just the next step. And after success, also you can fail, and it is okay for that.
I think maybe it'll be easier the second
Yeah.
time. The reason why I'm saying it, fail gracefully, because it's the analogy of glass half full and half empty.
Yeah.
Because when you say narrate a success story, I mean, everyone can't be optimistic, right?
Yeah.
There are people who are struggling to even be optimistic.
Yeah.
So if we tell them that this is a success story, then they'll think like, success. But when we say it in a way
The
that
mind.
the mind,
The
it's
mind.
kind of a mind manipulation. When you use the word that how to fail gracefully, I mean, it's just my point of view.
No, you're absolutely.
Right? I'm not saying that this is the way it is.
See, there are something in the world. There are a lot of perspectives and realities, but there is a unchanging truth also. Okay, you get the point. See, that is why I'm trying to say that if you learn how to be honest with yourself, and even when you fail, one thing that is going to be with you inside of you is that your intentions towards it is always going to be correct. If your intentions is impure towards it, could be anything. Okay. If your intentions towards doing anything is not correct, or in the sense like if you are not honest about it, you will fail and then you will blame everything and everybody when you are actually not addressed the real issue. So in order to fail graciously, one must be honest about what they're doing. Like, I want to start a podcast, and if my motive is this, that has to be clear. If it's not that, my actual intention is this, but I'm trying to do it this way. If we do that, then you're going to hurt a lot.
Thank you so much. That on that really honest
Thank you.
note, thank you so much for being there. It was such a pleasure to have you on the
Such a
show.
pleasure to be on this show, and
Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this as
of course,
much as I did.
loved
Right.
it, and thank you to this wonderful cafe.
Yeah, I mean, Uncle has always been a very big supporter. I mean, even in the initial stage, I actually shot one of my covers here. In,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's it?
I sang Hallelujah.
Oh wow, that's so amazing.
And,
we should have
and
some
that-
music in this podcast, in this, I mean, cafe, yeah?
Yeah,
Going
yeah,
around,
yeah. So someday maybe.
Yeah,
right?
we do that
someday. We'll have a small intimate gig
Yeah.
for you. Thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you,
Thank
thank you,
you
man.
so
Thank you
much.
for having me.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much.
Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.